So this is part 2 of the Nathalie Molina Niño webinar because we wanted to focus on funding, something that is so important for all of you. So let's bring back in Nathalie Molina Niño and her book, Leapfrog. I'm so excited to have Nathalie Molina Niño with me. I'm so proud of her. We worked together for so long. She helped me with the launch of Selfmade, and now she's got her own book, Leapfrog, the new revolution for women's entrepreneurs. Outsmart the status quo, launch, fund, and grow your business. Incredible book. I'm so proud of you. I'm glad to bring you back for a second webinar because I really wanted to focus on the part of the book that talks about funding, the issue all women have. So let's get started. In the book, you talk about start scrappy and stay scrappy, which you know I love. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, people often refer to starting scrappy as, I do think that that's not unusual advice, right? You're bootstrapping, you're getting things for free, but I think that what we forget is that once you're making money, once you have a staff, once you're doing decently well, that muscle starts to atrophy a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
People start going, oh, I've sacrificed long enough, I need a new car, I need this, we need a better office.
Yeah, and what you don't and I think part of that is maybe we get a little lazy and a little, comfortable, but I also think that part of that is the sense that everybody else is doing that, And the reality is it's not true. I'm an investor. This is my 6th company. And the first thing that I did when I started Brava is I went around Manhattan and asked people for free office space. Why should I pay for office space, right?
Absolutely.
I could be the, investor in residence, and I could be in an incubator that is full of, budding entrepreneurs who would be happy to be in a building with an investor, right, who's in residence. And so I basically built an argument for why you would want to give me free office space and why it would be a benefit for the community. And people are like, you're an investor, you don't need the money. And it's like, well, no, because you start scrappy and you stay scrappy. You never stop exercising that muscle, because no matter how much you're making, no matter how successful you are, there is always a more efficient way of using your capital and making sure that you remain focused and that muscle continues to work. If I don't know how to be scrappy, how am I going to advise my entrepreneurs?
No, and I think it really sends the wrong message that somehow your value system is off.
Completely.
The stuff you should be focused on, let's go back to in the last webinar, your customer.
Yeah.
And so this other stuff, when I go into offices and they're too fancy, it kind of makes me suspect.
Yeah.
Okay, you say in the book, raise prices. What does that mean?
It means so much more than it sounds, right? Because first of all, there's just, there's the reality that it's a lot easier to lower your prices than to raise them. And so there's this idea that you never want to raise prices. But the fact is if you are already at a place where you're undervaluing yourself, there is no better time than now to fix that. But the other underlying issue around raising prices is also around how you value your time, how you value yourself, and avoiding doing the thing that a lot of entrepreneurs do, where they itemize how much everything costs. Okay, how many hours is it taking me to do this? And what is the raw material costing me? And how many, and you sort of itemize all of your costs, and then you take that and you add a percentage, whatever that percentage is, and you say, that's the price of the thing that I'm selling. Wrong way to do it. The way to do it is, if my customer doesn't have this product or this service, how much is it costing them? In other words, what is the true value, right, of this product for this person? If they don't have it, how much money are they losing? How much opportunity? How much time away from their children is this costing them? And what's the value of that?
That's deep.
Right? And so that you raise your prices with that in mind, right? Both the value of yourself and your own time, and also what you're providing your customers.
I love that. Debt isn't a 4-letter word. What does that mean?
Here's my Machiavellian sort of theory on this, and it's what keeps me up at night. We have spent so much time and energy focusing, especially in the last couple of years, on getting venture capital to women entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Right? So much, Google venture capital women entrepreneurs, right? It is a hot topic. Nobody's talking about debt. And here's what not everybody knows, and that is that a successful company has what's called a balanced capital stack. So you have debt, you have lines of credit, you have maybe some venture capital, and all of these things are balanced. And what I'm finding is that I'm seeing that in the race to get so many more women venture capital, we're not talking about these other essential sources of capital. And what's happening is that I'm seeing entrepreneurs that have only venture capital and they don't have debt, which means they're using VC money for things that they shouldn't. Like you have one of those tight months where you have to make payroll, and what do? You sneak into that wad of cash that a venture capitalist gave you. No. That's what debt is for. That's what a line of credit is for. And so what's happening is...
That's a very good point, because that money over there, they're taking a percentage of your company. So if you have to
very
go raise it
expensive.
again, you're going to dilute what your side of it. And you don't want to get to the point where you're not incentivized to work because you've given away so much of the company.
Yeah, and it's the wrong use of funds. And so what I'm worried about is that in 10 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to look objectively at the data, and we're going to see, oh, remember there was this wave of women entrepreneurs, there was this wave of entrepreneurs of color that all got funding around this time. And then they're going to look at the results and they're going to see that they had a high rate of failure. And it's going to be because they have an unbalanced capital stack, because they focused on the wrong kind of capital.
That's really...
But my concern is, you really think
It's true.
that people are going to blame an unbalanced capital stack? What are they going to blame?
Those women.
Yeah.
For failing in their companies.
So I see...
So we're setting people up to fail.
Completely. And I see the end of the movie, and that's why it keeps me up at night. And that's why I'm adamant that people need to embrace debt in all its different forms. They need to make those relationships with their bankers, and they need to embrace it as equally important, if not more, I think, more important than
I love hearing
venture.
that. I love hearing that. Win the crowd. What does that mean?
In every source of funding, women come out last. As I said, women are getting 3% of venture capital, right? It just went down. Women of color are getting 0.1% of venture capital. It's pathetic, except for one area, crowdsourcing.
Really?
Yep. Women are disproportionately more successful at raising money through crowdsourcing. So that's it.
Wow.
Win the crowd.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Get the traction they need, not the traction they want.
Okay. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, Joan Fallon.
Love Joan Fallon.
You know, if she's successful, and knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
She's developed the first ever drug for children with autism, right? It's astounding. And what Joan found was that the way that entrepreneurs wanted to hear her talk about her business was not the way that she envisioned her business to be. And so instead of acquiescing, instead of shaping her numbers and making it look like exactly, you know, what the investors wanted her to do, she said, no, I'm going to find a different kind of investor. And so she funded a pharmaceutical startup, which is insane, with non-traditional capital, not with the typical pharmaceutical investor, but with families, with people who had experience directly with autism. And so we're committed to making sure that her company moved forward.
I love it. Find your angels. Who are our angels? No Prince Charming, but there are angels.
No, absolutely not. I mean, finding your angels means going to those people who care about the thing that you're working within, right? I've already said I find offensive the terminology, friends and family round, right?
Yes.
But angels are people who have an affinity towards the problem that you're solving. Think about Joan and the people who might be the traditional investors in a pharmaceutical. She said, no, screw that. I'm going to talk to people who care about my issue. I'm going to talk to parents of autistic kids, people who have a relationship with this issue, and they're going to be my angels. And so it becomes less about picking up the phone and talking to your friends and family, because most of us don't have friends and family that can write big checks like that. But there are people in the world who we have potential 1, 2, 3 degrees of separation from, that we can find, because whatever problem we're solving, right, hits them right in the gut.
So this is like a little bit like my In Your Pain is Your brand. So it's like your pain brings you a constituency of other people in your pain.
Absolutely. And they might not be people that you would otherwise associate with, but because you're solving a problem that hits them, like I said, sort of right in the gut, now you have something to talk about.
And they're into your company in a way that other people might not be.
And in a way that is personally connected to whatever their mission or their values are.
And they're willing to wait with you while your company grows, because they're funding something they really believe in.
And angels, because they're more recreational investors, not sort of institutional investors, are exactly what you said. They're going to be more flexible. They're going to be more amenable to the peaks and valleys and all of the hiccups that happen when you're starting a business.
Okay, last but not least, because I could go on and on. I love this book. Love it. Answer the $10 million question. What do you mean by that?
Okay. So another one that I love is Sochi Birch. Sochi Birch is the founder of The Battery in San Francisco, right? It's this amazing club. You must go if you go to San Francisco and you have an opportunity to go. Sochi is one of these people who her kids come first. She's had a number of successful tech startups. And when she was so successful with The Battery and her husband, people asked her, what are you going to do? Are you going to create a second battery in London and New York and, all the different big cities? Because that's the obvious way that people want to see growth. And she said, no, I want to live in San Francisco with my kids. I don't want to be traveling and having a business in New York and a business in London and a business all over the place. I want to focus on my kids. So she took and she grew, but on her own terms. Kind of like Joan, right?
Wow.
People wanted her to grow a certain way, and she said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to focus on my kids, but I'm still ambitious, and I'm still going to grow.
Taking really your own path and your own path to grow.
So you know what she did? She built software. The software that they use to manage the battery is software that any restaurant, any club, any hotel could also benefit from. So that's how she decided to grow in an unexpected way, but on her terms.
Okay, Nathalie, love this book, Leapfrog. Don't miss it. You know, we have to support each other as you have supported me. And by the way, I love this book. Love it, love it, love it. You know what we tell our ladies? Adelante, move it, go get to it. As she says, launch, fund, grow your business now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies, I hope you love this webinar with Nathalie Molina Niño and Leapfrog, her book, which I love. I want to thank Coca-Cola for helping us and being with us always in the 5x20 initiative to empower 5 million women by the year 2020 around the world and here in the United States. Thank you all. And you know, I love to say to all of you, let's move it. Adelante.